Hey everybody. Um, Here for another video. Just wanted to take a few moments to talk about one, spring break, which is wonderful. Here in the state of Florida in Orange County, we are on spring break for the next week, and I am so excited about it. But it brought to mind a couple of different ideas, some things I've been sort of battling with throughout this quarter, throughout this year, and I guess to sort of weigh in and get some feedback from you all. Well, for those who are not familiar with the state of Florida, there's a lot of testing that happens throughout the year. But the fourth quarter of the year is really testing central. I teach, again, high school chemistry. So we start off with the FSA, and then for geometry and algebra 1, and then AP testing. And then at the end of all of that, we get to the actual county-made district final exams. So it's nothing but testing, 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 and with all of the stress that comes with that, the proctoring and the trying to keep students up to date with what they need when they're out for a day here and there. Sometimes I know, at least for myself, I tend to get a little overwhelmed. What do I mean when I say that? Well, here's a little bit of my background. So doing this lovely, I guess, getting to know you type of activity, north, south, east, west, in terms of personalities and temperaments and whatnot. Some of you may be familiar with it, some of you have not. But I identified more as, I believe, east, north, which was not perfectionist. I'm not a perfectionist by any means, but I'm a person who does value structure. I like things to be done a certain way. And my preference is that I do it right the first time. This tends to be a bit of a challenge sometimes for me, though. And for those who will say, well, why? Well, I'm currently at a school. We're in our second year of digital instruction. So we're one-to-one. Each of the students has a laptop that they use to interact with the information. Although it's our second year, we started using a newer platform, Canvas. For those who are familiar with it, you know that it has the ability to do so many things, and even to build something that the students can use and that would be amazing for them to use. There's so many options that are available. And as I learn about different tools and techniques and things that can be implemented in with this structure, I tend to run into a slight problem of feeling almost paralyzed. And what I mean by that is not with fear, but in my mind, I'm trying to think, what is the best way to utilize the technology I have to benefit the students, to give them the best experience with chemistry as possible. So whether that be, having small micro quizzes that would allow them to be able to experience some form of success as they move through the module, having the resources available to them so that if I can't particularly get to them at that moment, they still have enough support where they can move on and be successful. With the current population I work with, this is actually something that's very important because many of the students in what we would call our regs class or standard chemistry class are not historically strong in science and math. So chemistry, joining those two, doesn't really fit well for them. And so I find myself constantly trying to fix and change and fix and change and fix and change. And it's to the point where it's all I think about, which is the part that really worries me. As we ended this quarter, I found myself being overwhelmed because in my mind I have so many ideas of what I want to do, what I want to implement, especially seeing that the fourth quarter will need to be very independent in terms of the content they're covering. How do I do it with there being only 24 hours in a day and still wanting to have time to spend with my wife and to exercise and to just exist? And so this is where I sort of come to you all. Again, this is sort of a place for me to reflect, but it's also you may be able to give me some feedback or share some strategies and ideas that you use. Number one, if you have a similar personality, how do you work it so that you can still provide a quality product so that the students can be successful, they can receive the support that they need in a digital environment without you physically having to be present and without basically spending your whole life in front of a computer screen. And the second part, because again, this was the part that worried me the most, and I'm hearing more and more people talk about it. What are your self-care techniques? If you're a person who cares about their job, cares about what they do, this doesn't just go into teaching. If you're one of those people that when you walk away, at your time to clock out or to leave or whatever the case, and you find yourself just exhausted, but you can't get it off of your mind. There's something that you have to fix. There's something you have to do. How do you sort of stop, pause, and just make sure that you are okay? Some of the things that I have adjusted in my own schedule is, I'll wake up earlier, usually up around 4:30, so I can get into school and I can do my prep work and do as much as I can before the school day starts. And then at 2:35, which is the end of our contract time, I try my best to leave and, leave it behind so I can spend that extra time. But I still find myself thinking about it and planning and trying not to end up behind with so much that's going on. And so, what are some things that you do? How do you make sure that you care for yourself physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually? What do you do to make sure that the thing that you love, that you have so much passion for, doesn't become something that makes you literally physically ill and sick, and that wouldn't be good for your students or for your clients or whoever you provide your service to. Well, that's what I have for this week. I look forward to hearing from you all. Please comment. Let me know what you do, how you do it. And I look forward to speaking with you again. Have a wonderful day.